again, more information and resources and help. If you're looking to implement an alternative fuel and you're hitting a barrier and a wall for some reason and you can't get around that, we have Tiger teams from NREL that we can bring out and help assist with determining what's causing the problem and how they can overcome that obstacle. And again, I'm happy to help make the connections for you to be able to get that assistance. Regarding the financial assistance, here's just some examples of, over the last couple of years, what the 25 ERA grants that were awarded, as well as other Clean City funding opportunities, and what those are going to provide the nation in vehicles on the road, infrastructure, petroleum reduction, job creation, and industry development all across the country. We were one of the 25 award recipients for the ERA grant. Again, in partnership with the Indiana Office of Energy Development, we were able to obtain an award of a little over $10 million. And this is really the slide that I wanted to spend some time on, talking about the project and what we're doing here in Indiana. I thought it would be really neat, again, as a coalition that is fuel neutral, that really works with fleets to help them determine what fuel makes the most sense, is that we touched on every fuel in our portfolio. And sometimes you be careful what you wish for because you might get it. Managing 8 partners has been a challenge, but it's been a wonderful project and really is bringing forth some great developments and fuel displacement and savings for these fleets, as well as the job creation. Our own Indiana Department of Transportation has retrofitted over 220 light-duty vans and trucks that are running now on propane. There are 115 infrastructure sites that they have put in at their district and sub-district locations all across the country to help fuel those vehicles. Those facilities are outside of the fence, and they are willing to talk with other municipalities or units of government to utilize those if they wish to implement alternative or propane in their fleet. They don't want to become a fuel retailer, but they are willing and they understand how important it is to help the market grow. If they can help that market grow, they're also benefiting their fleet because other infrastructure locations and availability and technologies and the vehicles will come available. So they are willing to look at that on a case-by-case basis. Let's see, they also have purchased 19 compressed natural gas dump trucks that are Kenworth trucks with the Cummins Westport engine. So again, Cummins Westport, Cummins factory here in Indiana and Columbus, another touch on Indiana and product that we make in the alt fuel arena. They will be fueling those trucks here in the Indianapolis area, utilizing the 3 stations that we have currently. They actually had 52 trucks in that application when we started, and then when we found out we were awarded, 9 of the compressed natural gas stations that have been in northern Indiana had been shut down unbeknownst to us. So we had to reduce the number of trucks, and they do hope over the next few years to be able to increase that number as that I-65 corridor opens that I mentioned, and other cities, major metropolitan areas in Indiana, look at putting in or do put in CNG infrastructure. Let's see, Cisco, the other thing I'll mention that wasn't funded by this, but as a result of their project and the 115 fueling sites, they are now in the process of having a kit developed and certified by the EPA, because you can't put a kit on for propane or CNG conversion unless it's been certified by EPA that it won't make the emissions worse at the tailpipe than what they were from the original engine manufacturer. So there is some cost in developing these kits and things. But they have awarded a bid that will allow their Ford Rangers, which they have over 450 of them, to have a dedicated kit for those vehicles to also be retrofitted. So the cost savings in fuel alone, it's about $2 less a gallon gas equivalent right now for propane than for gasoline. So the cost savings to myself, taxpayers, and those of you from Indiana that are taxpayers should really appreciate this because of what it is going to do for the budget, allowing us to free up dollars to go into other road work or what have you around the state. But that's very exciting, and that certification will also allow other state fleets, and the Ford Ranger is a pretty popular vehicle in state fleets, will allow them to take advantage of this as well. So this is something that was not funded by the grant but happened as a result of the grant. Cisco has purchased over 50 hybrid trucks from this grant as well. 7 of those will be located here in the Indianapolis facility. Should be taking delivery of those any day now. The balance will be spread across the country in different operations that they have here in the U.S. Renewable dairy fuels. How many of you are familiar with Fair Oaks Dairy? They are a partner with us as well, and the project that is providing us with the CNG corridor when their stations are complete. They will be putting in a biomethane station there at the Fair Oaks Dairy exit off of I-65. And you know, the dairy industry gets pretty hard hit by their emissions. And the sole main source of their emissions, there's not a lot you can do about that. It is what it is. So to be able to gather that waste and pull the methane off, they're currently doing it with a digester they have up there now, generating electricity. So this will allow them to further reduce their emissions and their carbon footprint, providing a public CNG station that will fuel 52 Class 8 tractors. Again, the Kenworth Cummins Westport system. Those trucks are additions to the Ruan fleet that will be hauling their milk into southern Indiana and northern Kentucky, and those are 2 drivers being hired per truck. Those drivers will be home at night, so they're not going to be away from their families overnight, and where that sleeper compartment would have been on the truck is where the fuel tanks will be housed for the CNG. The other station will be down in the Jeffersonville area, so again, probably providing some fueling opportunities for some fleets in northern Kentucky as well. The City of Indianapolis is receiving 25 hybrid vehicles to add to their fleet of hybrid vehicles that they've had for a few years now. They're seeing a huge savings in fuel costs using the hybrid vehicles as they do, and these vehicles will help increase that savings. They also, for the Department of Public Works and the Marion County Sheriff's Department, are implementing propane vehicles as well. Those 21 vans transport prisoners all over the country. So they will and are actually talking with NDOT right now about a fueling agreement so that they can fuel at the NDOT sites I mentioned earlier that are all over the country. City of Fort Wayne, they are adding 8 more hybrid light-duty vehicles to their fleet. They are another city municipality that has used hybrid vehicles in their fleet, implemented them the right way. Their drivers know how to drive them, and really seen a huge savings in fuel because of these vehicles. They also, their fleet director, Larry Campbell, is currently our board president, and he's always been very intrigued by hybrids and electric vehicles and has worked with Eaton for this jetter truck to create a one-of-a-kind right now truck that will show them an improvement of fuel economy in over 60%. So again, the savings on these trucks are huge. They've also partnered with another partner in our project, Lassus Brothers Oil, who's a big retailer in the Fort Wayne area, if you're from up around there or have been there. They have put in 3 more E85 stations, adding to the 5 current stations that they have. And those stations were handpicked by the City of Fort Wayne's police department so that their police fleet, which is currently now over half flex fuel vehicles and planning to be all flex fuel in the next 2 years as they're rolling out vehicles, they're able to fuel those police vehicles consistently on E85, providing them also with a large savings in their fuel budgets. Citizens Energy, or Citizens Gas, who owns 2 of the stations here in the Indianapolis area, has received a grant from this project to upgrade their facility at Green's Auto and Truck Service. That upgrade is going on currently, and it will fuel not only the NDOT trucks, but other fleets that we have here in the area currently that are running on CNG. Monarch Beverage is looking at and have ordered a couple of CNG trucks and are going to be doing some testing of a new Cummins Westport engine where Cummins has built 12 of these by hand. They're the larger torque horsepower engines that will be tested through Monarch's operation for implementation here hopefully this time next year. So they'll be fueling there, as well as Marion County Mosquito Control has been running on natural gas for over 20 years in their fleet. We have an ice cream van that goes around in the summer in the neighborhoods. That company, Summer Song Ice Cream, if you see them, their vans run on natural gas. They fuel at this facility as well. So this will allow us to not only continue serving the fleets that we currently have fueling there, but allow the fleets in the area that have interest to utilize that station now that the capacity will be larger. CAECO is a corporation that owns Indiana Geothermal on the near northwest side off of I-65 and Lafayette Boulevard. He's received an upgrade to his station. That's where the AT&T vans currently fuel. And there are several other fleets now in that area will be able to take advantage of that station for their fleet as they move to implement compressed natural gas in their operation. Our project total is a little over $23 million. So we're very proud in the fact that we have matched this more than the 50% requirement. All of these projects will be completed by this September. We anticipate over 500 tons of emission reductions through the project, as well as over 200 jobs created or retained as a result of this project. Some more information where you can go for additional resources. We do also have a funding opportunity that was just announced for $5 million. It is nationally competed right now that's asking for plans on implementing electric vehicles and plugging infrastructure. So it's not for technology, it's not for infrastructure, vehicles or what have you, it is for the plan to implement those. I think as we've talked about this morning and will continue through the afternoon, you can't just buy the vehicles and put them out there. You've got to have a plan on how to deploy them, and DOE realizes that. So we're working with Paul's group on an application to hopefully get a grant that will help us do this as we move forward in the EV industry. Again, it's no hardware. 10 to 15 awards are anticipated, a maximum of $500,000. Letters of intent were due last week. The proposals are due the 13th of next month. And then hopefully in September we'll have an award announcement and be able to start implementing the project. Additional websites and links that you can go to. As soon as there is a budget announced for this year for the nation, hopefully any day, we will have other funding opportunities that will be for deployment. I'm anticipating some things for the other fuels as well as EV vehicles and infrastructure. So as soon as we hear that, we'll have it out on the street and look to see what we might be able to do with those funds for our members. A little bit of a self-promotion here. We have an event coming up June 8th and 9th down in Florence, Indiana at the Belterra Resort and Casino. Starts at 1 on the 8th and goes until 4 the next day. We're touching on every fuel and technology that's current today. There is a fee to register. We do have a great rate on the room blocks down there. And if you're interested, or if you have any other customers or associates that you think might be interested, this really is a conference that's going to bring national industry partners and experts to us. And so you're not going to have to fly to California or Las Vegas or wherever they hold the conferences now on the national level. There was one just a couple of weeks ago in Long Beach, I believe, the ACT Expo that was sponsored by Gladstein and Associates. This will be a much more cost-effective way to get the information and the resources if you're interested in implementing any of the fuels that are available today. That's my contact information. Again, South Shore Clean Cities serves northern Indiana. If you go to our website, and there's our website address, there is a link to the map of the state that shows you where our line is drawn for our coalition regions. And that is it.